What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Young and Suffren podcast. I am here with my not even co-host, just my beautiful wife, Shantae.
Hi,
episode
guys.
1 was good.
I think so. I think we got a lot of love on that first video.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
What was it like? Did you enjoy the process?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, got a lot of feedback on a couple social media platforms, which was interesting, funny, but it's the internet. So.
I just think it's a misunderstanding of how our dynamic is. Like, I'm not as sensitive, and maybe people are trying to defend me, and I love that. I love that people are trying to defend me, but you're just a comedian, and I love to laugh, and it was just one of those things.
I'll tell you exactly what it is, and I told you this.
What?
Right? So, again, when I grew up, a bunch of dark-skinned girls always got made fun of.
Mm-hmm.
I always found them attractive. I was like, I don't think there's anything wrong with dark skin. I actually like dark skin. I think you look good, right? But when you say things like, oh, toasted or crisp or whatever, there's automatically a negative connotation to, like, when Americans hear that.
You think so?
Americans. The reason why, one of the first things I noticed about you is that you weren't surprised when I said I like dark-skinned girls when we first met.
No, why would that be surprising?
Exactly. Because here is not a preference. In Jamaica,
homogeneous society.
Everybody black.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying there's not colorism in Jamaica. I'm
sure for sure.
But when you think 95% of the population is probably darker tone, darker skinned. So, like, okay, you like dark skins? Okay. Right? Versus here in America, and realize all the people in the comments saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe he would use that or use those descriptions, right? You saw it as, oh, well, he just loves, he loves me when I'm black.
Right.
Right? He loves it. Right? Everybody else saw it as, oh, I have negative connotation towards it because I know how my society views it.
I think a large part of the comments were also talking about how you claim to be light-skinned.
Yeah, okay. First off, I'll put it like this. I darkened up a lot.
Okay.
But it was also
is there any internal conflict or self-hate that you're trying to mask right now?
Weird. I'm like, bro, like, I got so many comments. Like, and don't get me wrong, most, like, 90% of comments were good. Like, we're like,
yes, for sure,
supportive, whatever. But there's like 10% of comments that were like, they almost, like, I claimed that my family, a lot of our family members are light skinned, and I kind of included myself in that because I got darker. Like, my mother texted me, like, oh my gosh, you've been outside, you got way darker, right? But again, it was like, even if I have gotten darker, like, you guys made it seem like it was a privilege to be light skinned.
Right.
Like, the way they were saying, oh, you're not light-skinned. Like, everybody was quick to say you're not light-skinned. Not everybody. Again, like 10%.
Yeah, of course.
But I thought it was very interesting. Like, dude, I don't think it's a privilege to be lighter toned.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you're expressing your admiration of dark skin. So
yeah, and I thought it was weird. Yeah, but again, I did think a couple comments are really interesting. Okay, first of all, you got to realize, you've been my girl for almost 6 years. You've been my wife for almost 3.
For over 3, yeah.
For over 3. Yeah, 3.5. And there were like some comments saying, oh my gosh, I could just see it on her face. She was just like waiting for it to end. And I'm like, just say you lonely.
Oh gosh.
Again, that was like 10% of the comments. Like,
Mind you guys, let me just say, Isaac has very interesting opinions, and I just knew his words would get us into some hot water sooner or later. You see that? Anyways, sooner or later, and I'm not surprised that it happened and that you said the things that kind of riled everybody up. But with that, let's get into episode 2, and this, babe, what are you doing?
Okay. Proof in the pudding.
Jeez, Pims,
look at this. You can't see it. You can't see this hand? Look at this. Look at my shoulder.
Babe, I know you were light skinned. I know you were
Don't say it. You're gonna get canceled.
What?
If you call me light skinned. No, but real talk. I told her, I said I just moved to Dallas. I've been playing some golf. The lighting in here, like the way it was color graded and
very
stuff like
warm,
that,
yeah.
it made us look the same complexion, which wouldn't be a problem anyways.
Right.
But right, I gotta look at my shoulder.
They really struck a nerve with you, huh?
No, because I didn't like how people were saying like it was self-hate. What? Like, bro, I apologize for accidentally saying I was light skinned. After looking at some of my pictures though, like I am brown skinned.
Listen, all of this...
But I don't think it matters.
All of this, like, caste system that there is in America on skin complexion is so foreign to me.
I know. That's why we never even talked about it before.
Which is very, very interesting. But I do understand it's a cultural difference. And with that, we're going to get into episode 2, which is so... What's the word for that? Appropriately titled Cultural Differences and How That Plays a Role in Our Relationship.
Yeah. Also speaking of cultural differences, aside from the homogeneous society and like dark skin, light skin thing,
right?
You also didn't understand like what microaggressions look like when you first came here. Right. So that even goes further to show that we don't like this dynamic has never even really
been an issue, really and truly. And that's because in Jamaica, yes, we experienced slavery, but when you grow up, I feel like America grew up with their oppressors and they've had to live with them. Or oppressors, they left and they're the 1% of the society, but they're not the majority. You are the minority in your own country. Meanwhile, it's the opposite in Jamaica, right? And I do want to emphasize that this is a very sensitive topic, but because of that dynamic, I just had a different experience growing up. I didn't feel like oppressed or I needed to like prove. I've never been more aware of my blackness until coming to America. Every little box I'm checking black or it's like it's never been that big a deal.
Like applications.
Yes, stuff. All the time. It's never been a big issue for me growing up. So that's one thing I've had to learn. And of course, coming here at 18, so like I'm fully mature, like mature enough, right? There's not much development that is happening beyond like 18. My formative years are in Jamaica, so that's how it frames how I see the world. And coming here for college at 18, and it's like it's so different. It's so different, and certain things.
Immediate different. Different. Like if you were to name, like let's say 2 things that were like stood out the most.
Right.
Not from a cultural standpoint.
Oh, gosh. Well, I would say immediately, I was never used to being the sore thumb that stuck out in class. Everybody looked like me, so it was different. And when I'd be like in econ class and they'd immediately draw on examples of poverty, it'd always like be directed to Africa or some black people. And I'm like, can we not expand poverty beyond just the scope of blackness? So that's one thing that really bothered me. And then secondly, it's just how the two races interact with each other. I feel like you can never get too friendly with white people. I feel like there's always just some things that they'll never truly understand and some experiences that they'll never live that experience. And as a result, like the relationships that you have with them, it's like you're walking on a fine line before somebody says something that tips you off. And then in that, because Americans are more sensitive to it, like somebody would compliment, would say, oh my goodness, your hair is like that. And I say, oh, thank you so much. And then somebody would be like, yo, that was not a compliment. I was like, oh, all of a sudden, because I am not programmed like that. And as a Jamaican, I do understand that my lack of sensitivity sometimes comes across as ignorant, but it's just, I've had the privilege of not having to think about the white man every day.
Yeah, I don't. So just to clarify, because some people may not understand your language. Clarify what you mean by too friendly with white people. Because I feel like from an American standpoint, you mean like, oh, you can't really get too close, yada yada. But you have a bunch of white friends. You've been in majority white spaces.
Yeah,
you've been great, right?
Yeah.
So by friendly, like just to clarify, just for people who may not really understand or know you yet, you were just referring to the certain boundaries that that may be stepped on, not intentionally,
right,
but from a cultural difference, just growing up in 2 different worlds.
100%.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, me personally, and when you talk on sensitivity, that's America's sensitive. Just people look at us from other countries and they're like, dude, what the heck is wrong with these people?
Right, especially Jamaica.
Like you gotta apologize for. I'm not gonna apologize for nothing, right? But still, I know. I'm sorry, but still, I get what you're saying. I think it depends on who you're talking to, right? Because I lean more on the side of I'm not going to allow just anything and everything to hurt my feelings, right? My time is too valuable to be out here being offended by difference of opinion, right? And I'm also not going to sit here and argue with people. There's a difference between ignorance and then blatant disrespect, right? I think, ignorance is, not knowing. If you're ignorant, then there is some leeway there. Mm-hmm. But if you're disrespectful, that's different, right? Again, with the whole hair thing, and I won't speak for a black woman. I know my I've had cousins, my mother, they've had experiences where it was disrespectful. Right. Where they're kind of treated as some sort of exotic animal. Like, oh my gosh, can I touch it? Can I pull it? Is it real? Right. That's on the other side. That may be disrespectfully ignorant. Right. Where other situations, it can be maybe in some situations that you've had where it's, oh, I love your hair. The texture's so nice. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right. But again, there's so many different experiences. Like you said, it's different when you grow up. Right. United States is big. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's not like how many people is Jamaica?
Like 2.8, almost 3 million.
Yeah, that's like a very small city.
That's Dallas is like roughly 3 million people. So
okay, so big city, not very small, but pretty big city. But yeah, I think it's all up to how you choose to navigate. Because I won't be ignorant and say that there isn't any type of cultural tension that may occur in certain topics and things like that. But I also will say some people do live for drama. Some people want something to be mad at. Some people choose to be mad at stuff, right? And there's my group of people, like that's just my subsection. And there's other people who are like, there
are certain causes that you definitely need to stand up for yourself, and you definitely need to advocate for things because if you don't see the injustice in this place, you must be blind as a bat because it's very evident. And being an outsider now living here, I think. I'm not going to speak for my whole country, love Jamaica, but I think quite a few Jamaicans think that you guys play the victim a lot. And that is because we have not experienced it. We have not lived your life. And as like an outsider looking in, it's like, gosh, them complain about everything. Look how much opportunity them have. Look how them can work. Look how them can buy $1 burger. Mm-hmm. And them over there complain. Mm-hmm. But... And that is how I was preconditioned, if I'm being totally honest. They're like, Shantae,
it makes sense.
Yeah, don't go over there and waste the opportunity. Don't go over there and start complaining. Work for your own focus. So that's always been my mindset. But having gone to college and interacted with many different people and having seen and heard their experiences, I understand why you guys are like that. I do. I genuinely do. That doesn't mean I'm going to allow it to hinder my potential or stop me from going after certain opportunities. But coming to this country and seeing it firsthand, I now get it. And I think a lot of Jamaicans don't get that because they have never been here and they don't live the life of a Black American.
Yeah, it's I would say from knowing your family, being there, coming back, understanding, seeing different perspectives, I would say both cases make sense. Where on your end, people, you got to get out of Jamaica. Yes. Right? You have to get out.
We're so focused on just making it. I really want to emphasize that point. Sometimes when you just are focused on, oh, you go eat, you not think say somebody a touch you. You not think say, oh, I'm not have the right temperature. I'm hungry. What y'all gonna do? Like you
just pause. Just to translate. She was talking about when when you're focused, when you're so hungry, you're not worried about, who's doing this or that. You're just trying to eat. You just gotta get the food, put it in your mouth, and then get to work so you can go eat again. Right? That's just to translate that, because I know some of y'all probably lost. Some of you just want to clarify that.
And we'll have subtitles if needs be, right, Daniel?
No, you got me. I'm right here.
So but I just wanted to emphasize that, but continue your point.
I was just saying that there's two perspectives, and you can't help. It is our job, or it's everybody's job, to be able to grow up and, as we grow up, be able to see through other lenses and other perspectives without having to live that experience. Right? That's what a lot of people lack, and most people are immature, I think. But I would say that I get it, right? Being from Jamaica, you got to get out of Jamaica, create opportunity, And then, if anything, go back and help your family and do that kind of stuff. If you live here already, you're only looking at all the obstacles that are against you, but you don't realize how, we have it really good. There's a reason why everybody wants to come here, right? I get it. Like there's a reason people come to America to pursue this or pursue that, or just to get out of where they're at. Because they know, if anything, if I'm hungry in Jamaica and I'm hungry in America, I'm probably going to get more food in America, right? Just with the opportunity alone. So I get that. So I think that's just it's because we can, most of us, a lot of people can complain. And I'm not saying it's not tough. You got the housing crisis, inflation. It is tough, but it's a whole lot better than a lot of situations. So for me, recognizing that, right, like I said, there's my subsection of people, right? Now, I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about a mentality of people, right? Black, white, Hispanic, whatever you are, who refuse to be the victim of anything, right? And for me, I personally will never make myself a victim. There may be disadvantages.
For sure.
But I can choose to be a victim, or I can choose to, okay, you know me, I'm very logical. I have this obstacle, this obstacle, this obstacle. I'm not going to complain about it. How can I get past this one? How can I get past this one? How can I get past this one? Because all the people that are focused on, oh my gosh, I'll never be able to get away from these obstacles, are not focusing on how they're just going to get over it and how they're going to get whatever they're trying to get in the first place. And I think that being that the only thing we have to worry about primarily is the things we want to pursue, right? Obviously, this is not everybody, but I would say the average middle class American is only focused on the obstacles. Where you grew up, you focus on the obstacles, you focus on food, you focus on money, you focus on how you gonna get to school. I mean, and everything.
Oh yeah, I gotta live the next day.
Yeah, so again, there's perspective that goes into that. So I think lesson one of being able to stop being a victim, because I'm a huge advocate. Like, you know me, if you complain to me about something, not you, but like you, just people. Oh my gosh, man, this is just, man, they keep doing this to me. You're the first
person to come back. Okay, just do this solution. You're so solution oriented. Sometimes
if I care about you.
Okay, fair
if you're
enough.
just somebody who just complain, and you're like, I'm like, dude, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? But I think most people, it's so much easier to go online, go in the comments, and agree with people who are also just as miserable as you. It is. But you grind it. Like, tell us about how you got out of Jamaica. And we're not saying Jamaica like it's a war zone or anything like that. But
definitely not.
Yeah, your situation was very different. You didn't have a lot of money. Like, she took me to her house.
Oh, gosh. Boy, first of all, that was one of my best houses I've ever lived in. I even had my own room at that point. And the fact that you didn't
have your room.
Yeah, well, for a time I had a room.
Look, the size of that house, there's no way.
There were 2 rooms, 1 bathroom.
No way there was 2 rooms.
Yes, there was.
Standing room only. That's what it was. Look, we went to that crib. Look, and it's crazy because the neighboring houses were actually nice looking houses.
Yes.
And then we came to, it was like a 4x4 Home Depot extra large.
Listen, that was the one my mother could afford. And I guess that just speaks to our financial situation that we were in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in a single parent home. And I was 14 years old when my mother decided to change up the whole the only child thing. And then I had my sister. But yeah, I've always taken it up on myself to ensure that I was going to go to school and that I was going to, be able to afford certain things. So from primary school to high school, I was always applying for scholarships because I know my mother wouldn't be able to afford it. I knew that her paycheck could only stretch so far. Like, the rent would be, for that house that you were at, roughly maybe like $25,000, and her paycheck was $30,000. So make it make sense. So there was not a lot beyond that. There's sometimes
that's
Jamaican dollars. So let's say that's around $200 American dollars that she's making every month. And the rent alone is like
all of it.
All of that.
Yeah.
But one thing, though, there was always something in the fridge. It might not have been like the best meal or whatever, but there was something in the fridge. So shout out to Mama Sills for that. And I just knew education was my way out. So even now, sometimes I know you're like, oh my gosh, I was really focused on school and everything, and that my academic accomplishments aren't the thing you value most about me, but they had to be the thing that I valued most about myself, because it was the only way that I was going to change my circumstances.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that until I got to know you more.
Yeah, man.
Like, I was there to hoop. You were there, like, because that was how you were going to survive.
Exactly. So
it's very different.
Exactly. And we'd do anything. Like, my mother and I would do anything to ensure that I got a good education. Like, you always made fun of me about my laptop. My hefty laptop. I'm gonna tell you, I treasured that thing because it was an easier way to get assignments done. And I never had internet until like my last year of high school. So I would have to go to the library, download Wikipedia onto my flash drive, and just any little website, download it in PDF or web page, and then use that now to do my homework every day, because we couldn't afford the internet, or I'd have to walk a few miles, to my aunt's house that would have internet. And I tell you, walking at the night, my mother push stroller with my sister in it. We're walking and it dark. So it's like education was the only way out. And I really, really valued that in every sense. So grow up like that. And I think a lot of Jamaicans can relate. It's not a unique story. So for those of us who can relate. So went to primary school at Kensington Primary, graduated from there. Went to the best high school in Jamaica, and I'm not taking any comments on that. Campion College, Ready Strong all the time. And then after that, I was able to work with Nicole McLaren Campbell through the AIM program. And I remember talking with her. I say, Miss, this is all I have. Like, I've done well. I got all ones, great grades, really involved, student council, netball, all the things. And I remember sitting down with her, and I know the price of her program. And I know I had like $300 that I'd saved up from graduating. And I say, this is all I have. But these are my accomplishments. This is what I've done on my own. I've done summer programs here. And I just really wanted to make myself as attractive as possible to these schools, because I know I'd never have any money to pay for the school fee. So I went to Nicole and I said, this is what I'm working with, I actually emailed her first, and I said, if you could just give me a meeting to show you what I could do, and if possible, if you could help me. And she looked at me and she said, and she called her secretary at the time and said, Lily, draft up an ambassador form for me. And Lily said, how much I should put on it? She said, put $0. And her program was not cheap, but it's so worth it. And I just remember, oh my gosh, like, this is all the work that I've been putting in high school. It might finally pay off. And then it was through AIM that I got a scholarship, or through AIM I got the opportunity rather to meet with Lafayette, like an advisor from Lafayette, and I ended up getting a full ride to college. And it was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So I guess that kind of sums up the story a bit in terms of where I was before college, and just the situation, and how much going to the college changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah. And I think just from that story, I mean, you got to really understand how insignificant just going to college is for a lot of people, like here in America. Like, all the things you had to do to even get the opportunity. Like, what if Nicole said no? You did all that work until then, and Nicole said no, right? I'll be forever grateful to her. Like, but then on top of that, you had to get to Lafayette to say yes, right? You needed 2 yeses, right, in a situation where you had no money. And I think that speaks a lot to who you are as a person, because a lot of people will do nothing and expect somebody just to help them out, right? But there's something I like to live by, is that nobody's coming to save you, right? Nicole didn't save you. Lafayette didn't save you. You put yourself in a position to get that yes.
That's so
right.
True.
Now, we do have to credit them to some degree.
Of course.
Right? Of course. But if you didn't do what you did, right, walking miles to get Wi-Fi, man, there's some people here that, look, I'm ordering Chipotle, and it's downstairs. I can just walk. At Chipotle right downstairs, and I'm Uber Eats. I said, man, I ain't going down there, right? but on a serious note, I do think, again, there's that cultural difference where people, Americans see all the people want to come here. Oh my gosh, why do people want to come here? Yada, 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 whatever. Right. And at least I have the perspective to know that, dude, I was one of them. Like, it's just school. Like, school is, like, I used to call school stupid.
Oh,
right?
Gosh.
But to me, it still is kind of.
Oh, gosh.
in certain things, but your situation made me realize that it's not stupid. It may not be needed in my life for what I was doing, but it's saving so many other lives that we have no idea about. Because when we go to orientation, it's just a whole bunch of kids there, but every person has a story. Like I think the craziest part was that you didn't even know you were poor.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like you didn't even realize.
I did not realize. Like, and I just thought everybody was living like how I was living. And then when I realized, and I'm looking back and I'm doing the math, and I said, wait, mommy, how the numbers make sense? Because if the rent is 25,000 and you're only making 30, where did the food come from? Where did the clothes? Where did the books come from? And I was just really taken aback. But that speaks to how well my mother did. Like, she did an amazing job. I never felt poor. Like, I knew I never have abundance of money, but I never felt that growing up until I start like looking back, really, and I said, mommy, every time when I would come home and my mother, like whenever she's stressed, she would just go to her bed. She would just lock up the windows and just sleep. And I just knew never to bother her. But I didn't know like our situation was that like it was crazy. Our situation that we're living in, but I never realized that. So big up my mother every time. And like for extra lessons, you normally do extra lessons in grade 6 to get to a good high school because you have to do an exam. And my mother, she couldn't afford the extra lessons. So she would speak to my grade 6 teacher, and my grade 6 teacher believe in me. She'd say, you know what, just pay me when you have the money for the extra lesson, but she need to be in these classes. And my mother never finished paying for the extra lesson class until I was like a year into high school.
Really?
Yes, like she said, you have to go meet with Miss Scarlett, big up Miss Scarlett from Kensington, because just to pay off the extra lessons that I took months before to pass a campion. So people like that, so grateful for them, and for my mother for just always holding down the ship on her own at that.
Yeah, I always, like, that's why, I have so much respect for your mother, because, like, I was raised by a single mother as well. But our situations were still different. Like my mother was she grew up in a eight person household, I think, including like my grandmother and grandfather. But she got a full scholarship, Austin P, basketball, went into another profession, probably the best women's college referee, for 24 years, Angelica Suffren, by the way. But even so, like the struggle of being a single mother is always going to be a struggle. But man, yours was on a different level. Like, cause I don't think like my mother did, like we had our struggles, and there's stuff I don't know. Even to this day, I don't know what she went through.
For sure.
I know when I was born, we lived in this beat up apartment, got the pipes all out through the walls and all whatever. Then she had a roommate, yada, yada, yada. Then over some time, next thing you know, I'm in a house, and then we're moving apartment to apartment, kind of, I guess for her job. I really don't know, right? Because I was a child. I was like, oh, where are we going now? Oh, okay, cool, let's go. Right, that was kind of my life, but still, like, single mother it's very difficult. And I think the biggest thing that she wanted from me was to wait until marriage before I had children.
Because of what she'd experienced.
Yeah, because she knew how tough it was. And boy, our mothers did a great job. To this day, though, like, I know my mother had her struggles with me growing up, but I can't ever really say because I don't know. But, hopefully I'm not wrong, but I don't think we've ever been in a situation where rent was $10 less than the money we brought in on a month-to-month basis. Like,
and I guess that speaks to America. Like, your mother, she started off, like, she had you straight out of college, and it was a bit like a harsh transition from that.
She was able to grind her way up.
Right.
Yeah. In
Jamaica, there are not many opportunities. So even when my mother went back to school, she wasn't able to get a good job. She decided to work at a call center. And with that is like the pay is nothing unless you do multiple hours of overtime. So you're missing out on time with the children. So it's like my mother, she instilled a solid foundation in me. So when she was doing overtime, my homework was done. my shoes were clean and ready for the next day. She never had to really worry about me because she had set such a good foundation so that when she was working, she said, you know what, Shantae, she can handle this. So yes, my mother raised me, but I was very independent, and she made sure of that because she had to be out there hustling and grinding. And your mother, the hustle was different because it paid off. And in America, you can hustle and then for a while, and then it will pay off. Mm-hmm. When you're hustling in Jamaica,
or at least you always have the opportunity to hit your big break.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like my mother was just stuck at this plateau, and there was no like ascension. It was just getting by and coasting like that.
And then you have, again, the jobs that you were talking, like your mother, like I was talking to our cousin in Jamaica, and even then you're working American jobs, right? They outsource, like America or Europe or somebody would outsource. Yeah. And then you're not even getting paid as much as you probably should be getting paid. Yeah, because they're just coming over there just to pay
cheap labor. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly, right? So it's just two very, and this is just from a perspective, right? There's nothing wrong with, I'm sure there's people in Jamaica who that's what they do, right? That's what they want to do.
For sure.
But I'm talking about the guy, like you take two of the same professions and then put them in just different countries, and the possibilities and the potential outcome is just so different just because of where you are.
Yes.
Right? And it's, I'm not saying it's fair, but it's, you got reality is reality.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you were smart, though.
Are you glad I was smart?
Mm-hmm.
Like academically?
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you.
So you could come on over. I'd have never met you. Imagine you had never, I'm sure you'd have been, you'd have done some because you're great, but, imagine if you were just a little, just weren't academically sharp.
Yeah, I would not be here.
Very different.
Very, very different.
Very different. Because even when you got here, it was like, I got to get A's in every class because I can't lose this scholarship, right? And I'm coming away from practice. Oh, gosh. Look, you said, Isaac, don't you have homework? Yeah, I do. I'm going to play the video game, though. I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah. I mean, I had my little adjustment. I'd never adjusted.
Oh, gosh.
No.
There you have it.
Mm-mm. But I was me and you are very different.
Very different. In a lot of sense. Like, in the main sense of, like, we're both ambitious. We work really hard. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, and we have similar faith. Outside of that, we see the world.
The same faith.
Like, the same faith, yeah. All of those. Outside of that, we have no overlaps. Like, I was telling Isaac, if we were not romantically involved, we would not be friends. It's the truth.
Yeah, I guess. I used to disagree, but I guess. I mean, we don't have anything in common. And
I felt so weird at first. I'm like, oh my gosh.
We just love each other. That's the only thing we have
That's the only thing. It's just really crazy. And then you were joking. It's like, I'd be your friend. I'd be your friend.
I mean, no. We got different views. But again, we're so different, which is what makes us work so well.
Yeah.
Right? You can get emotional. I'm always going to be level-headed and logical, right? I can get too impulsive. You'll slow me down.
Yes, I'm very calculated.
Very calculated, right? Where sometimes I'm like, okay, let's do it. And you're like, well, hold on. Let's get the numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And where you are not solution-oriented at all.
Sometimes I like to express myself. It's not that you want me to be immediately solution-oriented. Like, I can't even hurt. I can't even feel. Because sometimes I need to dwell. I need to feel the feelings. And I need to shed a few tears. And then we could talk about solutions. You want to talk about solutions 0.02 seconds after the problem's up. It's like, no, I need to internalize this.
Babe, I don't like when you do that. You know what, babe, you're right. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
But I didn't even finish what I needed to say.
But then I'm like, then you're still talking. I'm like, yes, why are you still talking about it?
Because there's more to
I'm like, what? No, I just said I won't do it again.
There's more to unpack. Like, where's that coming from? What am I not getting from you? There's so much more. And you just go to the solution every time. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, just handle it. Boom. There you go.
I always say that Jamaicans are the most authentic people you will ever meet. And Americans they're nice, they're polite, and they're politically correct. Like, they always strive to never step on anybody's toes.
Some people.
Like, that's the culture here, to be.
I guess so, yeah.
To be cordial, to be
because you have like cancel culture and all that stuff.
Yes. And I think there's good in all of that. So there will be like an ugly baby, right? And Americans will come up to you and say, oh my goodness, he's so cute. Oh my gosh, love your baby. Jamaicans will say, listen, your baby if you have a gremlin. But if you need any help with feeding the gremlin baby, you need Pampers, you need any Lasco, call me. That's how I see it. They will tell you the truth. And people can say we're blunt, and sometimes it can come off as mean, but we will give it to you straight. Yeah. So I've had to learn how to soften my language and how you don't think I have? I've gotten so much better.
But like, okay, so I like a lot of friendly banter.
Yes.
Like, oh gosh, there's so many people uproar because I called you crisp. Yes, she's crisp, and I love it. Don't make me get into it again, because I will.
Oh, but you guys,
I got more. I got plenty more. But like I'll say something right with one of my guys or whatever, and then you'll come join the banter, but then you'll say something and be so literal about it, like, and then everybody kind of look. Yo, why is she coming for me?
No, because you guys have friendly banter, but when I join, all of a sudden it's no longer friendly banter.
No, I don't know. It's something about how you say it, I think. I don't know what it is, but there's the bluntness that's there. Mm-hmm. Like I'll get on my boy, but I won't get on him about the obvious stuff, right?
Okay.
Like he may be overweight, or he may be, his drip, he may be looking crazy, right?
Right.
But I'll be like, look, man, yada, yada, yada. But then you'll come and be like, I mean, you look like you're homeless, honestly. like you'll say something just out of pocket, like, wow, if I didn't know any better, like I think you're trying to kill yourself. Why do you keep eating all those foods? Aren't you big enough? But in your eyes, you'll be like, oh yeah, I got him with that one. Right, guys? And then everybody be like, ooh, I don't know. That was like, I don't know about that one.
Oh my gosh. So
but you mean well, like everybody knows
I
that.
do. My heart is, like, I genuinely love people. I do not have malintent whenever I say things. But sometimes it does come across that way. And I guess I thought I was doing a good job of it. And apparently I am not.
There's always progress to be made, I think. I'll talk about one of my flaws. I used to think Jamaicans were like really aggressive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Before I met Jamaicans, I used to think they're all really aggressive. You
know what his problem was? Because he would only see Jamaicans through the Marvin the Beast videos.
No. I wasn't even talking about that.
That's okay.
Different. I used to think that I would use that as wild.
Oh gosh.
Right, but I used to think y'all were like a little bit aggressive, because like you got the man on the side of the street when you go to Jamaica, and he's talking regular conversation, but he's yelling. But then you don't really understand what he's saying sometimes, right? At least on the videos. Like now I could make out what he's saying because I understand patois now, but like, I was like, whoa. Like, but like now that I can translate, all he's saying is, I don't want to go over there. I don't care about those people. Like that's who he's articulating.
Right.
But like when I first heard it, I'm thinking, "Me not here, me not want to go, man." And
right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like yo, they're about to fight. I'm like yo, like because you screaming at me like that. I'm like yo, is there an issue? But again, I think that's just would you call that culture or just like?
No, I think we're very, very expressive.
Expressive. That's a really good one.
Very expressive.
But once you understand patois, you really like Jamaicans are so funny though.
Hilarious.
Because you guys, I don't know, like you'll see a situation, like you've done it, you do it with your family all the time. Like I can't think of an example, but you'll see a situation, but you'll relate it to something completely unrelated, but then bring it back because you guys are so dramatic.
Jamaicans are creative with the wordplay,
yes,
just our charisma, everything. I love that about us. I think one difference I want to talk about is I don't know if this is cultural or if it's just a personal difference or just how I grew up. So my grandma has 14 children. So I grew up in a big family. Mm-hmm. Even though my mother just has 2 children, like I've always been around like lots of cousins, lots of just family.
Everybody.
Yeah. So whenever we'd go to country during like summertime or Christmas time, the house would be packed. Like, may I talk, 16 people in a 4-bedroom house. Like, at minimum, like, you would be sleeping.
Like, it's your grandma's house?
Yeah. Okay. Back in Mandeville. 4 people upon a bed. And that's so normal to me. So normal. Like, so bad, like, you wouldn't want to sleep with a cousin that is known to piss the bed, because then you are going to go river, basically is what we call it.
Oh, my God.
Like, that's normal. Is that not normal for people? So that's how I grew up thinking, oh, I don't have a lot of personal space. Like, I don't need a lot of it, because I'm just so always surrounded by people that I've never really been like, oh, I need space, I need privacy. American people, you've always tried to point out to me that I get too close in a line. Like, whenever I'm lining up in like a queue or something, you're like, step back. And I'm like, why? What?
Get off that man, bro. Yeah. I mean, they're when growing up, I mean, I've had similar situations, but like that was like a one night.
You like your personal space.
Yeah. And I grew up with guys who did have situations like that, but that was more for financial reasons and stuff like that. Not just having a big place, like being in exactly what hey, I was in a 2-bedroom house with all my 6 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not like probably as normal as you may have experienced it. But I'm also like, I'm not a good example.
You're very different.
I don't like bunch of people, one place.
So I saw that and I was just like, he's so weird. I saw that and said, I love being around people. I love when the house is full and that we're talking and there's
family,
noise.
Of course.
But you love your alone time.
I do. Yep. Yeah. I'll go duck off for a little bit. As we're one of my cousins. Hey, yo, you trying to run a store real quick? Just to, just kind of recalibrate. Get my.
I understand.
I don't know what it is. I just can't do a lot of people. Like when we lived in Vegas, right? If I'm at the casino, I'll go on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man, the table's packed. Everybody's there. A bunch of cars, people bumping into you. That's why I hate New York. No offense, but boy, I do not like New York. Just everywhere.
Yeah, it's highly densely populated for sure. And you like being alone. Like, and lovely segue into this next point. The way how you grind or like how you work, you lock yourself away and work nonstop. Me, I've always taken a more like balanced approach. Like, I will get the work done. I will focus on it, but it will not become my identity. I will rest. I'll take my little time and I will rest. And then I started like comparing both of us. I said, no man, maybe I'm not as ambitious as I thought. Maybe there's something different with me, because the way how this guy is working and how I am working, it is completely different. And I do believe that is cultural. Americans do have that.
I disagree.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. I disagree because the part of the reason I am the way I am is because I was raised that way from my uncle from a basketball perspective. He used to say, hey, if this is what you want, then you need to be waking up before everybody else wakes up. You need to go to sleep after everybody else goes to sleep.
Right.
Right. If you like his basketball, right? I tore my ACL 8th grade, moved to Charlotte, and he was like, yo, if this is what you want to do, I'm going to hold you to this standard. And this is what needs to be done every single day in order for you to reach this level of greatness. Right. So that was kind of like, I kind of took that mentality with everything. But I will say the American culture is work, and then a break every now and then, and work. I would say my version of it, I do it because I have goals and things I want to achieve on levels that are way above average, that are going to require way above average work.
I agree.
If I were to settle for the bare minimum, I probably could, or I guess the bare minimum / do enough to get by and be comfortable. I definitely could decrease by a lot. But also I think my role in our relationship is different, right? Because I'm thinking about not just myself, but making sure you're taken care of, and not just taken care of, because who just wants to do that? But I feel bad if there's say something that, hey, you say, hey babe, I want to get this, and we can't do it right now, right? that's not something I want to do, or there's something you want to do for your mother, and we can't do that right now, right? So that I have different reasonings for, I guess, as a provider, like naturally, I think that's where the work comes from. But yeah, it's definitely an American thing.
Yes.
That is like,
vastly different. Yeah. Like me, work straight through the week, Monday to Friday. But on a Friday evening, I go sit down, go up on my neighbor veranda, buy some chicken back, sit down, listen to music, and just relax. You, not that.
But I do give myself, a few hours, like when I hop
after you're born, like yeah, you do. No, you do for sure.
Yeah, but that's like after. But I see what you mean, though. Like I wake up, 7, and I'm probably done 7, 8.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's like every day. So I get what you're saying, but yeah, that just more because just goal oriented, and I got places to be.
I understand, and I admire that about you. And I could admire that and still not want that for myself.
I don't think you should.
Yeah.
It defeats the purpose. Like, why am I working so hard if my wife has to work just as hard?
That's true. But then I don't want it to be a thing of where, I guess, comparison is the thief of joy. Like, I'm doing things, I'm working also, but it doesn't look like your work. And I shouldn't have to question my own ambition or my own work ethic if it doesn't look exactly like yours.
No, you shouldn't at all, because I'll look and see how hard you're working. And then if you're working, I'm going to make sure I work at least 4 or 5 times harder, right? Because like, why the heck is why should my wife be working even as hard as I'm working?
Okay.
Because if my wife is working, then that means that there's something wrong anyways.
Oh.
And by the way,
how is there something wrong if I'm working?
Oh, I mean that from my wife shouldn't have to work.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
If she doesn't want to, right? Because I want to be in a position where I can just provide, right? But again, just so people know, she works, but she's her entrepreneur, real estate. You were in the workforce for
like a year. Almost like 10, 11 months, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I finally convinced her, like, hey, you can actually do this if you pursue it.
Yes. Yeah. And then
I take pride in that. I take care of my wife 100%.
Hey, you go right ahead.
Yep.
Well, I think we're coming up on time. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, the last episode was crazy long.
Well, if you subscribe, download, then that'll encourage us to make another episode, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just playing. Definitely like, subscribe, download the episode. I'm having a lot of fun. This is like a date for me.
Yes. At first, when you recommend, it's like, oh, we should do a podcast. It could be good for just us to talk. And
yeah, that was the original idea. Like, we should do a podcast because I work so much that sometimes I can get away from spending time with you or even just talking. Like, there'll be times that we don't even really talk, and it's not because we're having troubles or anything, but literally because I'm just working and I can lose track of time, and I can be very comfortable in a dark room by myself for a very long time. That is an
unnatural ability.
Yeah. So, like, when I was thinking, like, first of all, I think people would love you just on social media. But also, it's like, this is a great time that an hour, we dedicate an hour and a half, 2 hours every week to just being able just to talk. And then we still do, maybe go out to dinner, do something else.
And on the weekends and our runs, it's been great. I think this is also great because I get to hear things I've never heard from you or different ways of how you internalize things. This, like, it's new to me sometimes, the way how I hear you express yourself or how you interpret on your different perspectives. So it's like I'm getting to learn.
Do internalize.
Yes,
a lot of stuff.
yes, you do, and you just absorb it. But now this is an avenue for you to just express that, and it's great.
Yeah. I mean, even talking about it sometimes is a little weird because I'm so used to internalizing, right? And that's more to do with just how I grew up. I grew up. Like, my mom traveled for a living, so I grew up by myself a lot of times. So, like, you didn't
have anybody to...
Just think. who am I talking to? No, just think it. Something happened.
Nice.
And then I'm just all in here because I had a dog.
Zoe.
We talked.
Oh, gosh. That was his friend, guys.
Zoe wasn't very responsive. She's looking at me.
Well, guys, with that, we bring this episode to an end. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and download. Also, comment maybe some topics you want us to talk about, some things you want to hear, or perspectives on. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.
See ya.